You already know what's happening. His intentions are more intense than you want to admit. When he appears, you react. He provokes, he talks, he insists, and you justify, try to understand, confuse persistence with interest. This is not destiny. It is calculation. The pattern repeats. He approaches, he attracts you, and you, in turn, find yourself fighting against a tide that is not yours. He seeks certainty. You get lost in what could be, you think you are special. But the truth is that this persistence is not gold. It is disguised manipulation. The connection strengthens because you feed it, not because it is genuine, but because you do not pull away. He will insist, you will wait. And again the cycle begins. The bond only exists because you sustain it. Standing still is also a decision, and the reality is this. This is not love, it is control. As long as you remain available, he will not need to change. This works for the other. The cost is yours. The bare and raw truth has already been presented. You know that this wheel turns. He returns, and you, even aware, feel compelled to cling to the past. His memory is an echo that resonates, a rehearsed pattern that has already become familiar. The illusion surfaces that the next encounter will bring what was missing. He is no different. It is always the same dance. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. He gets frustrated. You blame yourself. And with each separation, you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? This question keeps you trapped. The cycle is vicious, a carousel of emotions that you cannot disassemble. You think, this time will be different, but it is not. He speaks in empty promises, like an artist who refuses to leave the stage. The words do not sustain reality. What matters are the actions, and that never changes. You cling to small gestures like a fallen leaf trying to find roots in dry soil. And so you feed hope, a spark of affection here, a fond memory there, as if that could ignite a flame where only ashes exist. You believe that persistence can break down barriers, but the truth is that you become part of his routine, a convenient accessory. While you wait, he moves forward. His gaze is the thin line between desire and disdain. You find yourself in the position of needing to prove your worth, and in doing so you lose yourself. He disappears again. Silence settles like a fog, heavy and suffocating. The messages don't come. Days pass, and you try to ignore the absence, but something inside you keeps clinging to the possibility that he will remember, because you want to be remembered. That emptiness is a trap. Every time he appears, you tell yourself that this moment is special, that this is your chance, but what you don't realize is that the idealized vision you have of him is a reflection of what you desire, not what actually happens. Then he returns, with smiles and promises, and you, like a wolf attracted to the light, approach once again. Your mind fights against logic. You know you should step away, but the desire for connection is stronger. You justify your feelings, you focus on what could be, on the idea that change is possible, but change only occurs when 2 people are willing to transform the dynamic. And now you realize that you are alone in this. He comes and goes while you remain. The trap closes in. You try to understand the signs while he just acts. You believe that there is depth in what exists between you, but often the depth is just the echo of your own loneliness. The bond strengthens because you feed it, and that nourishment is toxic. Each interaction seems like a reinforcement, a substance for the dependency. You need it, but it only consumes you. And the truth is that those who love do not hide behind promises. Those who love give themselves and show themselves. Why do you stay? Because it is comfortable. Habit brings security, even if it is an illusory security. Every time you tell yourself that you will change, that you will put an end to it, you find yourself in front of the same broken mirror. He can promise the world. He can probe you with sweet words, but you know that when the dust settles, everything goes back to normal. Reality imposes itself. He does not change, and the story repeats like a scratched record. And in this cycle, your decisions are a choice to continue or not. The cost of the relationship has already been paid countless times. You choose to remain with the expectation of a future that never comes. Meanwhile, time slips through your fingers like sand. The truth is cold. There is no love devoid of respect, and you already know that what exists between you is not that. And with each passing day, you must decide if you will continue in this game, if security in the known is worth it at the cost of your dignity. You do not need to wait for external changes. You need to evaluate your position. The world will not revolve around an expectation. Your value should not depend on someone who does not recognize what you are. And this is the last key you need to understand. You are not lost, you are paralyzed, and standing still is also a decision. In the end, what really matters is your choice to break this cycle and seek what is truly worth living for. The external change will not happen until you decide to break free from the internal trap. You have the power to transform the narrative in your hands. Do it, because in the end, reality does not wait. It has already been presented. You believe that pain is the only form of love. But love should not hurt. This belief keeps you trapped in a spiral where you confuse suffering with affection. He reappears, a smile, a word of affection, and you find yourself reliving moments that should have been left behind. Hope is reborn like a sprout in arid land, and you cling to it, even knowing that the drought is relentless. Each encounter brings a wave of adrenaline, an illusion that he really cares. But how long will you live on this tightrope? The balance is unstable, a fall is always a possibility. You idealize love, but it's not a fairy tale. It is unpredictable, chaotic. It shouldn't be a constant battle. But here you are, fighting for crumbs while he navigates through your feelings, as if choosing the best dish at a buffet. With each disappearance of his, a part of you shatters. You try to glue the fragments back together, but they never fit again. The image you have of him is a distorted painting, where reality is just a vague shadow of what could be. You feel the urgency to connect, to understand, and this desire generates new expectations. But expectations are poisonous. They create an abyss between what exists and what you wish existed. When he returns, you forget about the moments of silence, about your voice echoing in solitude. You become a version of yourself that you don't recognize. The strong woman who could cut the ties transforms into someone who waits for a miracle. Time becomes your worst enemy. Days accumulate like dry leaves in autumn, while your life waits for a sign that never arrives. You remain in a loop, a vicious cycle fueled by uncertainty. And when everything seems lost, you begin to see the small things. He sends you a message at night, a "how are you?" But that's not love. It's the confirmation of your own insecurity, a return to your own despair disguised as attention. You seek to validate your feelings and, in the process, ignore your mental health. Each interaction, each call is a strike of hope, followed by disillusionment. The cycle repeats, and the wound deepens. You keep the doors open, offering shelter to someone who never commits, and thus the storm settles in. You allow yourself to be the anchor in this harborless relationship, always hoping that he decides to anchor. The feeling of being chosen is intoxicating, but that choice is yours. It's essential to face that this expectation comes at a cost, the cost of giving up what truly matters, your peace, your worth. While you continue to seek his confirmation, you forget who you really are. The sparkle in your eyes slowly fades. Emotions become a currency for exchange, an unequal exchange. He may smile, but the smile doesn't guarantee presence. The words may sound kind, but they don't sustain actions. And in this game of appearances, it's you who carry the weight of the consequences. Time slips away, but the cycle continues. He returns, takes your warmth, and leaves again, leaving you in an emotional winter. You find yourself questioning your choices, your capacity to love and be loved. It's time to look at yourself, to the roots that were damaged but can be restored. This process demands courage, the courage to retreat in order to advance, to let go of what no longer serves you. Empty promises do not define your worth. Only you can decide what you desire to cultivate. Each day that you hesitate, you consume yourself, and that consumption is a choice. Look at your hands again. What are you truly holding? Fleeting hopes, illusions built on sand, or the possibility of a future where you are the protagonist? Be brutal in your assessment. Cutting ties is painful, but the pain of remaining in uncertainty is even greater. You must choose what is truly worthwhile. The security of emotional debris or the freedom to start anew. Don't be fooled. What is being shown is not love, but dependency. And each day that passes without making a choice is a day that you distance yourself from who you could truly be. You are not losing. You are finding yourself. Change begins the moment you decide to break this cycle. And the reality is this: you are at the center of your own story. Choose to write a different ending, because in the end, that is the only truth that matters. The reality has already been presented. You ask yourself what else needs to happen, what needs to be said. Each thought echoes in your mind like a lament. The repetition becomes an unwanted mantra. He returns and you feel a mix of expectation and despair. A vicious cycle. You think that maybe, this time, something will really change. But the truth is that his return brings no new promises. It only reaffirms the old routine. He smiles, but behind the smile is the shadow of doubt that you cannot ignore. The sparkle in his eyes that once captivated you now seems like a trap, an invisible snare. And you, surrounded by your own memories, find yourself trapped in this emotional labyrinth. Often you try to rationalize, you use logic as a defense. He has his problems, you tell yourself. It's not easy for him. But what about you? What about your needs? They are always secondary, always waiting. Each unanswered message is a burden you carry. His absence creates a deafening echo inside you, and so you keep feeding the illusion that, if you just wait a little longer, everything will resolve itself. Nights pass and you find yourself reliving the moments that made this connection unique. But now, with a more skeptical view, you realize that these moments are just fragments of a distorted reality. The connection you seek does not reside in that superficial smile or in empty words. Over time, you begin to feel the frustration. The weight of uncertainty becomes unbearable. It makes you doubt yourself, your insecurities amplify. You wonder if you are enough, if you should do more. But the pattern remains, and you realize that every attempt to please him takes you further away from who you really are. Every time he disappears, you find yourself shattered. A version of yourself fades away, and another, more fragile one emerges. A cycle of adaptations. Every interaction is a round of a game you don't want to play, but you don't know how to exit. The fear of being alone weighs more than the pain of waiting. The internal struggle intensifies, and between the lines of your actions, there is a clear message. You are not willing to give up what you already know, even if it means sacrificing your dignity. It's a macabre dance where you take on roles you didn't choose, and with each step you lose yourself a little more. Love should not cause this kind of suffering. You know this, but still you find yourself entangled in his unfulfilled promises. That inner voice that used to be strong now whispers doubt and fear. You find yourself wondering, how much is my love worth? You keep your expectations as if they were secrets, hoping that one day he might recognize them. And so day after day, you become a hostage to what should be your liberation. When he returns, you allow yourself to believe that maybe this time is the change you long for. He talks about the future, about plans, about a world where you are together. But those words sound empty, like echoes of an old song that has already lost its melody. The feeling of comfort he brings is a mirage, a mask that hides the deep and painful reality. You are just prolonging the inevitable, just delaying the decision that must be made. And in this postponement, the cost increases. You continue to invest your time, energy, and love in something that is clearly compromised. Deep down, you know you need to take action. That every moment that passes without action is a step towards self-sabotage, and yet you hesitate. The idea of being alone is terrifying, and the need for connection is a powerful magnet. Meanwhile, life moves on, and opportunities slip away. You wonder if you will ever be able to break this invisible chain that binds you. Every conversation becomes a new chance to reflect on your choices. What really matters? His presence or the peace you can find by setting yourself free? He may seem attractive, but he doesn't offer security. Every interaction is an emotional roulette. You spin and wait. You wish he could see what you see, the potential, the connection. But the reality is cold and harsh. He doesn't see. And while you wait for his recognition, you forget to recognize yourself. True love should not be a battlefield. It should be a safe space, a balanced exchange. And in this process, you begin to realize that the way you relate to him reflects the way you relate to yourself. If love doesn't represent respect, then it isn't love. You must choose. Choose whether to remain in uncertainty or embark on a new path. The choice to prioritize your needs. Recognize that you don't need a love that consumes, but one that nurtures. And in this moment of clarity, you realize the choice is in your hands. The power of transformation is yours, and the cost you pay to remain in the cycle is no longer worth it. The reality has been presented, and now you have the opportunity to rewrite your story.